morning, friends. Greetings and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That's why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 29 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health and nutrition or prescription drugs, we are here for you. We welcome your calls on The Bright Side. Our number 844-236-6010. That's 844-236-6010. If you have questions about the longevity products or health formulations or ingredients or skin health questions or a success story you'd like to share, or if you just want to contribute to the conversation today, our number is 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised on the program, please head over to my website, criticalhealthnews.com, also pharmacistben.com, also brightsideben.com, and you can purchase products right off the website. You can also go to benfuchsarchives.com. We've got all the products up at all the websites. You can sign up to join the Brightside Ben team as well. And you can call the Brightside Ben phone team if you so desire. If you'd like to talk to a live person about joining the Brightside Ben team or purchasing any products, their number is 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. And of course, if you want to purchase any of our Truth Skin Health products, including our Retinol 5% gel, made with lots of vitamin C and no crapola, no wax, no water, no preservative, no fragrance, no silicone, no emulsifiers, nothing your skin doesn't need, nothing your skin doesn't want. It's just packed with nutrition, packed with topical nutrition. In the case of our Retinol 5% gel, you get 5% retinol and a whole bunch of vitamin C plus our transdermal matrix. You can also check out our Truth Serum, Truth Omega-6 Healing Cream, and our Truth Balm. It's all up at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Okay, so we are continuing talking about the ketogenic diet and the importance of fats for hormone health, especially for when it comes to skin health. There's no aspect of nutrition more important than the fatty nutrients when it comes to the health of the skin. And I'm telling you, this is somebody who's been in the business now for 30 years, in the skin business for 30 years. I actually first learned about nutrition and first got an appreciation of nutrition when I started to see its relevance for helping people heal from eczema and psoriasis and acne. I noticed that when I started to dispense or started to recommend things like essential fatty acids and vitamin A and zinc for people's skin health issues, that their blood pressure would drop and they would lose weight and they would start to wean themselves off their medication. That's where I first started to notice that there was this important connection between not just nutrition in the skin, but between nutrition and the entire health, the health of the entire body. When it comes to the skin, though, there's no aspect of nutrition more important than the fatty nutrients. Americans spend billions, tens of billions probably, of dollars on moisturizing products, and dry skin affects almost everyone to one degree or another. But dry skin is rarely a topical issue. Human skin is designed to be naturally soft and hydrated, just like a baby's skin. But this is a function of fats. This is a function of fatty intake as well as fat absorption, particularly when it comes to EFAs and vitamin A. Between our fat phobia, our fear of fat that's promoted by the medical model, and fat absorption issues, which typically develop as we get older, sometimes not so much older, sometimes younger folks have fat malabsorption issues. between fat malabsorption and a lack of intake of fatty vitamins and essential fatty acids, xerosis, which is the technical medical term for dry skin, xerosis, Xerosis, xerosis is inevitable. This is the major reason why we have such a crisis of dry skin, such a problem. It's not really a crisis, I suppose, but such an ubiquitous health challenge of xerosis, fat phobia, and a lack of fat intake and fat malabsorption. Just as significantly, when it comes to lack of intake of fats, is the skin and the skin cells' predisposition to instability. It's not just dry skin that's a problem when you have a lack of fats or fat malabsorption. It's also instability in the skin cell, and that leads to sensitivities and dermatitises and sun damage. All of this can be induced by a problem with fats, fat malabsorption, or lack of intake. Fat-deprived skin, and that includes fatty vitamins, and by the way, it also includes minerals. Zinc in particular, and also selenium, require a healthy fat absorption system. So when you're depriving yourself of fats or you have fat malabsorption issues, you're going to be prone to all kinds of skin problems, from EFA deficiencies as well as vitamin deficiencies as well as mineral deficiencies. And we're talking here wrinkling and accelerated aging and dark spots and sun damage and skin dryness. And your skincare professional, as nice as they may be, and your dermatologist, as nice as he may be, isn't going to tell you this. First of all, they probably don't know unless they're listening to this program. And secondly, because there's a lot of money to be made in selling skincare products. Skincare companies are especially culpable. Skincare companies reap tremendous profits from selling us basically expensive water. Your typical skin moisturizing cream or skin moisturizing lotion is going to be 80 to 90% water. Cream is a little bit less water. That's the difference between a cream and a lotion. Cream has less water. Creams are typically around 60 to 70% water. A lotion is 80 to 90% water. That's a lot of water, folks. If you're spending, say, $20 or $30 or $40 for a jar of cream or a bottle of lotion, you're paying a lot of money for water, for not much water either. If you have 100 grams, say, typical body lotion, say 100 grams, that's a little less than 4 ounces, right? And if you're talking 90% water, you're talking 90 of that 100 grams is water. That's a few tablespoons full of water for 30 or 20 or 30 bucks or more. And when you factor in that the rest of the product is oil and wax and preservatives and fragrances, this is crazy. You can see why some of the biggest companies on the planet, after the food companies and after the drug companies, other profit-intensive companies, some of the biggest companies in the world are your skincare companies. And don't be fooled by the French name, by the way. Aveeno, or don't be fooled by the oatmeal that's in your product. Aveeno, by the way, is the #1 best-selling moisturizing lotion. And it's no coincidence that the food companies and the drug companies and the cosmetic companies are the biggest companies in the world, because they all grew up together at the beginning of the 20th century when marketers were developing their mind control techniques for getting the public to do things. This is when it all started, or beginning of the 20th century, late 19th century, as Sigmund Freud's philosophies and theories kicked in. When we started to understand motivation, we started to understand what drove people's behavior. It was a short jump to getting people to buy things. We've talked about this in the past. This is all mind control, folks, and it doesn't help our skin. It doesn't help our health, and it's not fair. With rare exceptions, dry skin, aging skin, damaged skin, and pretty much all skin problems are biochemical internal issues. They are signs of poor health. And there are signs of really horrible things to come. If you got dry skin and you have that's being caused by some kind of biochemical breakdown, it means you are going to be more prone to other health challenges later on. This is a health issue. Dry skin is not cosmetic, folks. It's health. And it's not topical. And you're not going to hear this from your skincare companies, because there's a lot of profit to be made. And the manufacturers and the bookkeepers and the marketers and the bankers and, unfortunately, the doctors and the skincare professionals that are selling these products, they don't want you to know. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Okay, we are back on the bright side. Thank you for joining us, friends. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on our archive page at brightsideben.com. If you miss a program, they're all up at benfuchsarchives.com as well as brightsideben.com on our archive page. Got 4+ years, 5 years of archive, 5 years of programs on our archive pages. You can also purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised or recommended on the program right from the websites. And of course, you can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team right off our websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, criticalhealthnews.com. And you can also call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. And if you want to purchase any of our Truth Skin Health products, you can go to truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Okay, so the ketogenic diet is the most skin-friendly way to eat, bar none. It's a fat diet, a high-fat diet, as you know if you've been listening to this program. It's a high-fat diet. If you got dry skin, the ketogenic diet, the high fats of the ketogenic diet are going to be very, very helpful. The skin is an organ of the body, and like all organs of the body, it depends on nutrition. It depends on nutrients for its health or lack thereof. You can have anti-nutrients that can destroy skin health. The skin makes its own moisture factors, but those moisture factors depend on what we eat, especially fats, and this is where the ketogenic diet comes from. The ketogenic diet is hands down the ultimate skin health diet. It's a skin anti-aging diet. It's a skin anti-wrinkle diet. It's a skin anti-acne diet, and it's an anti-inflammatory diet. When you think fats, when you think the ketogenic diet, you want to think veggies. Now, this is somewhat counterintuitive because veggies don't really look fatty, but they are. And we said this so many times on this program. There are fatty components in cucumbers, in celery, which ordinarily to the uninitiated, if you just look at a stick of celery, it doesn't look like there's much fat in there, but there is. Veggies should form the bulk of our caloric intake, whether we're trying to go ketogenic or not, by the way. Whether we're trying to generate ketones or not, veggies are absolutely the most critical food segment of the food pyramid or the food plate or whatever they call it now that we can eat. They're absolutely critical, especially when it comes to the skin. With some notable exceptions, and there are some, and with some things that you have to take into account, allergens, lectins, plant toxins, you got to account for these things. But once you account for these things, veggies are the ultimate and perfect ketogenic food, after fats, of course. There's so many reasons to eat veggies if you're going ketogenic. The biggest knock on veggies is their taste. The veggies have a bitter taste, and that's because of all the medicinal power they have, all the healing substances they contain, the phytonutrients. This is where we need to be a little strategic and a little clever. The nature of medicine, the nature of nutrition, the nature of nutrients, for the most part, is bitter, not sweet. And this is an important point because human beings crave sweet. This is why we tend to gravitate away from vegetables. But there's ways that we can improve the palatability of veggies. For one thing, there are natural sugars in veggies that you can release. Steaming and braising release sugars. And this is a great strategy. And if you mix them up with fats and spices and salt and pepper, you can really amp up the nutritional power of a vegetable, especially the fat. Butter and coconut oil. Butter and coconut oil go hand in hand with vegetables. This is where the ketogenic high-fat diet and veggies together really shines because of the nutritional value that's locked up in the vegetables, the fatty nutrients that are locked up in the vegetables. If you braise your veggies, and when I say braise, I mean quickly cook them over high heat, quickly, because you don't want to burn them, and you do it with vegetable oil, you are going to release the phytonutrients. And same thing goes for steaming. Veggies have a fatty nature. Most of the fatty nature in a veggie is going to be located, well, I shouldn't say that. Most of the veggie nature in a fruit, or most of the fatty nature in a fruit is going to be located in the peel. In a vegetable, it's scattered. In a fruit, it's in the peel. And when I say fruits, I'm also talking fruit/vegetables like tomatoes and cucumbers for that matter. Anything that has a seed in it is technically going to be a fruit. So cucumbers and tomatoes and squash, these are all technically fruits. And the good stuff is, for the most part, there is some in the pulp, especially in the colored pulps like tomatoes and squash, but for the most part it's going to be in your peel. That's why the peels are bitter. Bitter means medicine, basically. In a veggie, all the bitter stuff, all the medicinal stuff is going to be spread throughout the vegetable. And they're going to be locked up. And that's why you want to use some heat and steaming, although raw vegetables certainly have some advantages. If you have fat malabsorption issues, this becomes super important. If you had a gallbladder removed, this becomes super important. Crohn's disease, celiac disease, all of these kinds of health issues are going to compromise your ability to get phytonutrients out of veggies. It means your skin's going to age faster. Women have a big problem with this when they get older. Women tend not to absorb their fats as well when they get older. And this, of course, is exacerbated if there's liver issues or if there's gallbladder issues or intestinal issues. As women approach menopause, typically they're not going to absorb fats. And this is why, this is what accounts for the skin problems that women will confront as they get older. This is why women start to spend all this money on skin products, a lot of money. And people selling the products don't know any better. It's not like they're evil. It's not like these skincare companies are evil necessarily. Certainly estheticians aren't, and dermatologists aren't, and skincare professionals in general, they just don't know. So you're out there, ladies, you're out there buying all this, spending all this money on wrinkle creams and spending all this money on moisturizing creams, and you know that as you're getting older, your skin is not looking as good, and you know as you get older, your skin is drier, and you know as you get older, you're more prone to sun damage. It's not a topical problem. It's a digestive problem largely, and an intake problem as well. So for women, it becomes super important to eat veggies and to loosen up those fats. And by loosen up those fats, I'm talking about using a little bit of heat. Also grinding, by the way, can loosen up the fats. The carotenes and the flavonoids, these are tremendously protective against sun damage. And the best anti-wrinkle strategy you can use. Even my retinol 5% gel, which is an awesome product, isn't as important as making sure that you're getting those nutrients out of the veggies. And as I said yesterday or the day before, in the coming years, you can expect to see vegetable-based topical products. And you can actually make your own vegetable-based topical products. Just blend your veggies up in coconut oil and apply them to your skin. You're not going to the coconut oil gives you a little softening. It's not necessarily going to moisturize your skin, truly moisturize your skin, but it'll give you a little bit of softening. But the veggies are very protective. And veggie drinks are also amazing, powerful ways to access the fatty nutrients. And they can be pretty darn tasty, too. Combinations of veggies, tomatoes and cucumbers and celeries. Come up with your own recipes, your own combinations. Personally, I like to balance out the sort of bitter taste that celery can have and kale can have with the somewhat sweet taste that cucumbers and tomatoes can have. The combination of the acid from the tomatoes can balance out the alkaline from the spinach and from the celery. Celery is probably the most important for a lot of reasons. Celery is just a tremendous source of fiber and also a great source of nitrates for the digestive system. So I'm very fond of celery. And when you blend your veggies, when you spin your veggies in a vortex, you actually amp up the electrical energy. When fluids are combined with electrical substances like potassium and magnesium and chloride, these electrolytes, when fluids are combined with these substances and then spun around in a vortex, you get an electrical current. You're drinking electrical energy. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. All right, we are back on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thank you for joining us. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on our archive pages at brightsideben.com and benfuchsarchives.com. Thank you, Peter in the UK, for setting that up. Our number today, 844-236-6010. Got a couple lines open for you. Hang on, we'll get to you in just a moment. On our next Bright Side episode, we'll talk about some strategies. Well, we'll continue talking about veggies, first of all, and ways that you can, I'll talk about veggie smoothies and veggie drinks. Then I want to talk about some supplements that you should be using if you are going to go ketogenic. And I also want to talk about a really interesting way to go ketogenic without going ketogenic. That's interesting. A way to generate ketones without necessarily eating ketogenically. There's actually supplements that you can use. We'll talk about that on our next Bright Side episode. 844-236-6010 is our number from the Journal of Neuroscience. Reducing a person's calorie intake can protect against the development of Parkinson's disease. Oh my goodness. Where have you heard that before? You mean you can eat less food and it will affect Parkinson's disease? You mean Parkinson's disease is affected by eating too much food? Oh my gosh. These brilliant doctors. I wonder if they've been listening to the bright side. We've been talking about this forever. Parkinson's disease is unnecessary, people. All neurodegenerative disease is gratuitous and unnecessary and largely related to how we eat. The good news is you can reverse these things by making sure you're eating correctly and eating less and eating ketogenically. This is from the Journal of Neuroscience. According to a guy named Dr. Andrews, it turns out that hunger hormones, the secretion of hunger hormones are actually protective against neurodegenerative diseases. This is so important, you guys, because this is where we control our disease process without doctors and without the medical model. Something as simple and as easy and as inexpensive as caloric restriction can protect you against afford you protection from Alzheimer's disease, Bell's palsy, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, and other neurodegenerative diseases. Journal of Neuroscience just came out today, or it came out yesterday. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Let's go to Robert in Ontario. How you doing, buddy? Sorry we left you on hold yesterday. How's it going, man?
I was wondering if you had any help for carpal tunnel.
Yes, carpal tunnel is an inflammatory condition of the hand, and it's associated with repetitive movements. But whenever you hear inflammation, you want to think fats, EFAs, essential fatty acids. These are the molecules of inflammation. So get yourself on the ultimate EFAs. Take 9 a day, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 3 at night. Make sure you're absorbing your fats. That means using ultimate enzymes with your meals. You can also get extra bile salts. We'll talk about bile, by the way, on our next Bright Side episode, because the ketogenic diet is related to bile. You need to make sure your body is producing enough bile, and clean bile for that matter. Also, the Healthy Start Pack can be important, particularly the B vitamins in the Healthy Start Pack, extra particularly vitamin B6 for carpal tunnel syndrome. But really, all the B vitamins are going to be important. The mineral magnesium can be important for all inflammatory issues. Make sure you're using your Beyond OsteoFX. And don't underestimate the importance and the relationship of probiotics, good bacteria, when it comes to inflammatory health issues. With carpal tunnel syndrome, what you can't do with carpal tunnel syndrome is treat it medically. There's nothing they could do medically except for give you drugs, anti-inflammatory drugs typically, which will wreak havoc on your digestive system and your cardiovascular system. So there's nothing your doctor can do for you, my friend. But you can handle this yourself. Ultimate EFAs, essential fatty acids, magnesium, all the B vitamins, and that means your Healthy Start Pack. And I would be throwing in the Biolumin Nightly Essence. Make sure you're getting your probiotics, as well as bile salts and your ultimate enzymes as well. And also caloric restriction. Another major anti-inflammatory strategy is caloric restriction, restricting your calories. Calories are heat, and heat and inflammation go hand in hand. So making sure that you're restricting your calories, and of course, if you're eating pro-inflammatory foods, you need to work on that as well. Sugar is the most important pro-inflammatory food, and then also processed foods have pro-inflammatory properties too. So processed foods are probably things that you want to avoid as well. You will find, though, when you start to change the way you eat, and especially around caloric restriction, restricting your calories, you'll find that all inflammatory symptoms, particularly carpal tunnel symptoms, will improve. Okay, my friend?
Tingling in your hands?
Yes, that's the same idea. Now, if you start to have tingling in your hands, it might not necessarily be carpal tunnel syndrome. It might be related to blood sugar. Again, an inflammatory issue. That's called neuropathy. It happens in the fingers and the toes and the hands and the feet. And it's very common in diabetics. But again, and I don't know how long you've been listening to the program, Robert. Oh, you're a diabetic too?
I'm not. No.
Oh, you're not a diabetic. Well, you don't know that you're not a diabetic. You just have not been.
So.
Yeah, that's right. That's different. You know what? That's different, Robert. Just because they tell you they're going by numbers. When they diagnose diabetes, they're going by numbers. You're not a number, Robert. You're not a statistics. You're a human. So you can't compare a number. You can't assess the symptoms in a human by looking at numbers, by looking at reference values. See, what doctors do is they take your blood out, they look at the sugar, and then they go to their little book and they go, let's see what this little book says about the number that Robert has in his blood. Oh, he's not a diabetic. Oh, he is a diabetic. You're not a book and you're not a number. You're a human. If you got neuropathy, you probably have messed up blood sugar. Now, I don't know that you have neuropathy, but it sounds like you might. Neuropathy means nerve.
Fingers.
Yeah,
only
neuropathy.
My fingers.
Say again?
It's only my fingers.
Well, that's still It's
Not
only
my
your fingers. Did you have it when you were a teenager? Did you have it? Did you
No,
have it when you were a
just
baby?
the
Would you have it when you were a baby?
After
No.
75.
You're
After
75?
75.
Well, that sounds awesome. If that's the only problem you have, you're doing pretty good. But my point is this is a sign of degeneration. The body's breaking down, and it follows inflammation, and it also follows sugar. It's very difficult. It's almost impossible to have neuropathy and inflammation in the nerves that's not mechanical. Like you didn't get into an accident. It's very difficult to have neuropathy without having messed up blood sugar. And by the way, it's very difficult to be living on the standard American or standard Canadian diet, for that matter, and be 75 years old and not have messed up blood sugar, unless you've been super conscious about how you ate your whole life and taking care of yourself and knowing exactly what to do. And most of us don't. And I'm not being mean to you. I'm not beating you up here, Robert. I'm just telling you this is where you want to work. And I don't know how long you've been listening to this program, but you always want to backtrack to what I call the triangle of disease, and blood sugar is the second point on the triangle of disease. Food, blood sugar, and then you probably want to start to implement some of the relaxation techniques that we talk about on this program all the time. Deep breathing, meditation, hot water, showers, hot baths, etc. Lots of ways that you can activate the parasympathetic relaxation nervous system. Stretching can also help with carpal tunnel syndrome. All right, Robert, I'm going to motivate. Thank you so much. You have something else you want
from meat?
Say again?
Should the fat from meat be eaten or not?
It's not great. There's worse things for you. The problem with the fat from meat is not so much the fat as the heat, the high heat from cooking the meat. It's not there's worse things for you, though. That's not the end of the world. What you want to look for are foods that cause you specifically you, digestive health problems, bloating, gas, that kind of thing, loose stools or constipation, etc. All right, I got to go. Thank you so much, Robert. God bless you, my friend. All right, David in Texas, what's cooking? Oh, we got a commercial, David. Is this my friend David?
That's me, Ben. I'll hang in here, buddy.
All right, good. Good to hang on. Good to hear your voice, David. All right, if you're on hold, hang on. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll take a break and come back with more good health information on the bright side right after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. Thank you for joining us. Got a couple lines open at 844-236-6010 from the public, from the PLOS One, the journal PLOS One, the Public Library of Science. Link between gum disease and cognitive decline in Alzheimer's. Apparently, gum disease is more common in people with Alzheimer's disease. Now, why would that be? Well, Alzheimer's disease is a degenerative disease. It's a disease where the body just breaks down. It's not a special disease. It's not some kind of specific brain health issue. It's just a rotting of the brain, the way the joints rot and the way the organs rot and the way the bones rot as we get older. And I know that sounds gross, but that's really what's happening. So it makes perfect sense that gum disease will be linked to Alzheimer's disease. This is the way we want to look at health, because this simplifies everything, folks. When we understand that degenerative disease is just nothing more than the body breaking down, it's not a special issue that's specific to organs and structures in the body, we will be able to handle our health issues ourselves, and there won't be any need for specialists or doctors. And there'll be a lot of unemployed specialists, because there's no special diseases when it comes to degenerative health issues. This is from yesterday. Link between gum disease and cognitive decline in Alzheimer's disease. If you listen to this program on a regular basis, you're going to be way ahead of the curve, folks. And when you read studies like this, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I heard that before. Here's another one. Study shows gut microbes, probiotics, influence platelet function. That is the little cell pieces. They're not really cells, but little substances that are involved in clotting. In other words, gut microbes affect blood clotting. Again, where have you heard this before? Dirty blood. That's what it's all about. Dirty blood. Clean the blood. And this is such good news. If you are sick, if you're dealing with a degenerative health crisis, this is such good news, because it means that we can take our health and put it back into our own laps. We can handle it ourselves. Who handles our gut microbes? Is there any drugs for your gut microbes? No, but we do it through the foods we eat, the supplements we take. The foods we eat and the foods we eat and the foods we don't eat, and the supplements we take. Okay. 844-236-6010 is our number. Let's go back to Texas and talk to David. Hey, buddy. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great, Ben. I've got a question for you regarding bread.
Yes.
I try to avoid, most breads, pastas, rice, and all that kind of stuff.
Good. You're Graves' disease, David?
That's
right?
me. You got me through my Graves' disease. I had extremely bad symptoms, and I was looking at radiation and poison or medicine, if you want to call it that.
I'm so glad you listened. I'm so glad you heard this. That's awesome, man.
I'm healthier than I have ever been, thanks to you. Yeah, it didn't happen overnight. It was a long road, but I'm there. And thank goodness I came across you, Ben. But I do have a question regarding the breads. So I do like sandwiches. I like to eat a little bread. I don't eat a whole lot. So now when I do eat bread, I only eat Ezekiel bread.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if there is any benefit to eating Ezekiel bread.
It's better than regular bread, certainly. And you don't have to go zero tolerance on these things. You don't want to be, you don't want to be a fanatic necessarily. Not that there's anything wrong when it comes to if you want to go zero tolerance with things. There's nothing wrong with that. But kind of just see how you feel after you do certain foods. For example, after you eat the Ezekiel bread, are you tired? If you're not, then you're good. Tired is a sign of blood sugar problems. Now, there's still gluten in Ezekiel bread, I'm pretty sure. It's not completely sprouted, and there's still going to be some anti-nutrients in there, but it's certainly better than regular bread, that's for sure. So just see how you feel. See how you do. Don't eat a whole loaf of it. Have a slice of it. See what happens. If you like it with, you like to have your sandwiches, cut the Ezekiel bread really thin. Make a thin sandwich and enjoy it. You want to enjoy your life, but if you notice that your thyroid starts acting up, then you got to, take the appropriate measures. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. And I have another quick question, if you have time. I know there's people waiting with serious illnesses. So I'm doing everything you're saying. I juice every morning, and I have a Vitamix, and I also have an Omega juicer. Kind of wondering, is one better than the other?
I don't know what the trick is. You want to keep the fiber. That's where the Vitamix excels. Is it grinds the juice up and keeps the fiber and makes it palatable. Some of the juicers that don't grind the fiber up enough, it's kind of it's not a juice really. It's more a thick substance. And I personally like it more juicy. That's why I love my Vitamix. I don't know what the Omega juicer is, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah,
and I've never
out all of the fiber from my juicer when I'm done with my Omega juicer. So I'm thinking that's not such a great idea.
Do you lose the fiber with the Omega juicer?
I do, yeah. It all sticks to the inside.
Yeah, that's not as good. Now, if you do have a juicer where you lose the fiber, save the fiber and cook with it, or put it in soups or something. You can always. The fiber is good medicine, and we're going to talk about fiber in the next program, on our next episode. But fiber is awesome medicine. And when you're drinking a juice, it's just tragic to lose the fiber, which is why I'm a big believer in the Vitamix. And now I understand, although I haven't seen it personally, the NutriBullet does save the fiber too, from what I hear. But you want that fiber in the juice. It's wonderfully medicinal.
Very good.
And filling.
Thanks so much, Ben. I'll let you
Take care, man. Thanks, David, man. Take care. Take care. And by the way, the fiber is awesome for the ketogenic diet, and we'll talk about that on our next Bright Side episode. Sarah. Hey, Sarah, what's going on?
Hi, Pharmacist Ben. I was on opiates for 6 years, and I've recently detoxed myself off, and I'm in recovery.
Good deal.
But I've been having minor seizures and different things, and weird things happening with my brain.
After you weaned yourself off the opioids?
Yes.
It could be a rebound condition. When you wean yourself off the opioids, all of a sudden you're going to have all of this energy flowing through your body, and it could be a temporary rebound condition. What you want to do is a couple things that you want to do, and this is for everybody with seizure disorders, but especially for you. You need to really focus on relaxing your body. And there's lots of ways to do it. Hot baths are awesome. Make sure you're using a lot of hot showers and hot baths, okay? That's first of all. Second of all, meditation and Reiki and massage can also help you. Yoga and exercise can also help you. Then there's nutrition, especially the B vitamins, B for brain, the brain vitamins. Make sure you're doing high doses of B vitamins. The Beyond Tangy Tangerine is a wonderful way to get your Bs. You may want to throw in some extra B100, which you can buy in a health food store. Also, veggie juices are good sources of B vitamins too, and veggie juices are just great for everything anyway, as we were just talking about with David. There's also wonderful nutrients that can help you, fatty nutrients that can help you, MCT oils. You can get that at a health food store. Make sure you're doing coconut oil. That can also help you. Listen up. I don't know if you've been listening to the program the last week or so, but you can listen to the archives and listen to all the stuff we've been talking about. The ketogenic diet, which is a calming diet, calms the body down and also has anti-seizure properties. And then there's some really cool nutrients that are specific for seizure disorders like GABA, GABA, lithium orotate. You could buy both of those at health food stores. Magnesium also can have anti-seizure properties. You'll get that in the OsteoFX. You'll get it in green veggies. You can also supplement with maybe 1,000 or 2,000 milligrams of extra magnesium a day. Vitamin C is great for everything. 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. You'll get that in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. And I would also throw in a couple other things. And we're going to talk about one of these in particular on our next Bright Side episode, something called carnitine, which helps the body process fats. That might be helpful for you. Maybe a couple hundred milligrams of carnitine. Taurine has wonderful anti-seizure properties. That's an amino acid you could buy at a health food store. Maybe 100 to 200 milligrams of that one a day. Let's see, there's a couple more things. Vitamin E, also 400 IU a day of vitamin E, and then omega-3 fatty acids. Really all your omega-3s and omega-6s, but omega-3s are especially important for the brain. Make sure you're using your Ultimate EFAs 9 a day. If you have any digestive problems, and you probably do if you're just getting off your opioids, you're either constipated from the opioids or you got some rebound diarrhea, one or the other. Does that make sense? You follow me, Sarah? Okay. Any foods that trigger any of those digestive symptoms you want to stay away from, and then make sure you're on your probiotics. You're getting your good bacteria. Biolumin Nightly Essence 9 a day, and then eating fermented foods can also help. There's tons of stuff, but that's a great place for you to start. I'm going to get one more call in and talk to my buddy Carl, the Truth Raider. So hang on. I got to let you go. Okay, Sarah?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Hope we helped. Hey, Carl, you got about a minute, my friend. What's going on? What do you got to share with us today?
I'm sorry, Ben. I'm sick. I came down sick yesterday morning.
What? What's up? Is that what you called to tell me? Come on, Carl.
No, it was life hacks, but I didn't get on for a couple of days. I got really sick.
Well, you sound like crap, Carl, the Truth Raider. I hope you feel better.
I'm working on it. Maybe it's because my immune system is working so good, so it's kicking in high gear and really giving me symptoms to cure me, I guess.
Are you pulling my leg? I can't tell if you're pulling my leg.
No, I woke up yesterday morning. My throat was not sore, but it
here's Pharmacist Ben. I got to go, Carl. But I'm gonna give you Pharmacist Ben's remedy for a cold. You always want to catch it when you start to get the cold. You might be a little too late, but when you start to catch the cold, when you start to feel a little sluggish, get on a rebounder. Drink a gallon of water in one day. Do a whole bunch of vitamin C, maybe 5 or 10 grams, and make sure you're getting 50 milligrams a day of zinc. Carl, the Truth Raider. God bless you. Good luck, man. I hope everything works out. All right, that's all the time we have for today, friends. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You've been listening to The Bright Side. On our next episode, we'll continue talking the ketogenic diet, and we'll talk about some supplements that you should use if you're on the ketogenic diet. Have yourselves a beautiful, spectacular, awesome, wonderful day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.